Hey everyone. Okay, this is probably gonna be not a very good video, but I forgot that I never finished the Goad family history, so I'm just gonna keep reading here. So just bear with me. I'm sorry. I look like hell, so after I read this, I have to go get ready. But um, yeah, I remember reading that part. But okay. Anyways, we're gonna start with Thomas Goad, and then we're just gonna keep going. So, Thomas Goad was born about 1807 in Virginia. June Warland believes that Thomas might have gone to Alabama or Missouri sometime before 1830. He and his brother, Ephraim, are the only children of James and Margaret Goad, or Goad, whatever you want to say. I say Goad. I say Goad. Goad. Of which so very little is known. We think he married Miss Elizabeth Rebecca Jones. Nothing else is known of Thomas Goad or his descendants. So that could be anybody. Alexander Goad. Alexander Goad was born in Tennessee in 1810. He married Jane Henderson of Warren County in 1830. They moved to Madison County, Arkansas about 1834. Jane Henderson Goad died about 1860. A few years later, Alexander married a second time to Mrs. Jane Womack. Alexander died on February 4th, 1889. He was buried in the Pleasant Ridge Cemetery near Yellville, Arkansas. His children were Eli Dotson Jr. Can't read. I'm old. By his wife, Jane Henderson. Martha Goad, Ibby Goad, Margaret Goad, William Goad, Charles Pinckney Goad, Alameda Jane Goad, Nat Goad, George W. Forrest Goad, Louisa Goad, Mary Goad, great-grandmother, Bob Goad, a child who died small and whose name is uncertain. His second wife, Mrs. Jane Womack, Ely Goad. See other parts of the booklet for detailed information. Okay. Isabel Goad is the fifth child of James and Margaret Goad. Was born about 1813 in White County, Tennessee. She married Nathan Driver about 1831 in Tennessee. They had the following children. A daughter, Pamela Driver, who was born about 1832 in White County. Noah Driver, who was born about 1834 in White County. He married Mrs. Caroline, no one knows, and lived in Madison County, Arkansas in 1860. He may have served in the Civil War. A son, Odias Driver, was born about 1836 and was the first of the children born in Arkansas. He married Mrs. Sarah, no one knows, about 1863. He could have served in the Civil War. This family lived in the Bowen Township of Madison County in 1880. Millie or Margaret Driver was born about 1838 in Arkansas. Henry Driver was born about 1843 in Arkansas. He married Mrs. Mary blank. No one seems to know these last names. About 1863. They lived in Bowen Township of Madison County in 1870 and 1880. He might have served in the Civil War. James or Jasper Driver was born in Arkansas about 1845. He could have served in the Civil War. Okay. A daughter, Eliza J. Driver, was born in Arkansas about 1846. Margaret Peggy Driver was born in Arkansas 1847. Mary Polly Driver was born in Arkansas about 1848. Isabel Ibba Driver was born in Madison County in 1851, and Nathan Driver Jr. was born in Madison County about 1854. Mary Denny Driver was born in Madison County about 1856. This child was severely retarded. I don't like saying that word. Never married and died sometime after 1870. Oh, wow, how sad. I believe that Isabella and Nathan were married in White County and came with a large group of relatives to Arkansas in 1834. They lived in Bowen Township until sometime after 1870. Ephraim C. Goad. Where's my mouse? There we go. Ephraim C. Goad was the sixth child of James and Margaret Goad. He was born about 1815 in White County, Tennessee. He married Miss Nancy A. Fulton. June Warland said a Shockley descendant told me that Thomas married Rebecca Elizabeth Jones and moved to Missouri. Ephraim married Nancy A. Fulton in Tennessee, and they went to Alabama. But did he really know? We don't know. I know nothing else of him or his descendants. Interesting. A lot of them moved to Arkansas. James Madison Goad was the seventh child of James and Margaret Goad. Oh, see, James Madison, old Uncle Matt Goad. Okay. He was born in White County, Tennessee, about 1817. He married a Miss Rebecca Fisher of Illinois, about 1842. They lived in Franklin County, Arkansas, in 1839. In 1850, his family was living in Sugarloaf Township of Crawford County, Arkansas. We refer to this James Madison Goad as Old Uncle Matt to distinguish him from his nephew Matt, the son of Alexander and Jane Goad. Let's see here. Okay. We have a numerous discussions on whether Matt Goad was the brother of Alexander or Alexander's son. So you see he was both. There were two Matt Goads. The children of Matt and Rebecca Goad are Sally Goad, who was born about 1843 in Arkansas, Mary Margaret Goad, who was born January 24th, 1846 in Crawford County, Arkansas, and she married Lutheran II Young on October 15th, 1871. She died. She died. Let's see what this one says. January 1914 in Christian County, Illinois. A known relative of Mrs. Thelma Gardner, 624 West Popular, Taylorsville, Illinois, 62568. King Goad was born February 12, 1848 in Crawford County, Arkansas. Moses D. Goad was born in Crawford County on February 18, 1850. He never married. He died on August 14, 1878. Isabel Goad, called Belle, was born January 27, 1852 in Crawford County, Arkansas. She married Mr. William, and nothing else is known. I've been told that old Uncle Matt and his wife Rebecca were killed in the Civil War by the Civil War guerrillas, bushwhackers, about 1863. The children were taken from Crawford County and raised in an orphanage in Christian County, Illinois. Margaret Peggy Goad was the youngest of the children of James and Margaret Shockley Goad. She was born about 1819 in White County, Tennessee. She married George W. Wood, about 1834. This family lived in Bowen Township of Madison County, Arkansas in 1850 and 1860. The children of Margaret Goad Wood are Catherine Wood, was born in Arkansas, 1835. James Wood, a lot of them, yeah. Ibby Wood, okay. Sorry, I'm starting to get. Then we have George W., Ephraim, Margaret, John, Elizabeth, Nancy, Joseph, Mary, and Charity. And they were all born from 1841 to 1859. Then no one else knows anything else about them. Alexander Goad, I believe that who the person's writing this was my great-great-grandfather, Alexander Goad, was the first of James and Margaret's children born in Tennessee. If one can visualize conditions that prevailed when Alexander was growing up in White County, we can safely assume that he received little or no schooling. He probably hunted, fished, and trapped and worked very hard at helping his father and brothers at farming. One story handed down through my family and supported by the other branches is that Alexander was a skilled wrestler. That he engaged in the sport for money is likely. It was thought... that his family disapproved of this and was not very dignified profession, and that Alexander traveled around and wrestled in different places. I have a picture of Alexander that was taken when he was an old man. From this evidence and from physical descriptions of his sons on the Civil War records, heredity evidence, I do not believe that Alexander was a large man, although he was probably quite strong. The year of 1830 finds 20-year-old Alexander and his brother, or his bride, living near or with his father-in-law, William Henderson, in Warren County. His sister Mary Goad Dodson, a young widow, dies in November 1830. It seems that Alexander and Jane immediately adopt 2-year-old Eli Dodson Jr. 2 months later, their first child, Martha, is born. Young, Alexander is head of a family of 4. Just 1 month after his 22nd birthday, another daughter, Ibby, is born. The talk of the lands opening up in Arkansas Territory must by now be the topic of the day in the conversation. Probably a brother or brother-in-law has already been there and brought back very good reports. So in 1834, the same restless spirit that caused his family to move from Virginia into White County now tugged at young Alexander Goad. Things were likely not too good at this time, for it seems that most of the Hendersons and Goads left their homes in Tennessee and came to Arkansas together. There was probably little difference in the trip from Tennessee to Madison County and the trip from Virginia to White County some 26 years before. I believe they came overland by wagon. There were likely many families that made the trip together. The exact route, I don't know, but the trip took several weeks and was close to 700 miles. In 1827 and 1828, the number of families came to present-day Madison County. A family that named Jackson, not related, was living in the area as early as 1818. The United States lands were opened for entry in 1834. This was the event in which enticed the Goads to move to Arkansas. Madison County, of which Huntsville is county seat, was established on September 30th, 1836. A few months after Alexander and Jane arrived in Madison County, their third child, Margaret, was born in September 1834. The family was listed in Bowen Township of Madison County on 1840 federal census. Alexander and his family remained in the area for over 25 years, until sometime after 1860. The records indicate that the family farmed for a living. The 3 older girls, Martha, Ibby, and Margaret, all married before 1850. Will married in 1856. The 8th child of Alexander and Jane Goad is George W. Forrest Goad, born in Madison County on December 1st, 1845. He died when small on November 12th. The date is missing in the Bible. His death occurred before 1850, as he is not listed on the census record. George W. Forrest Goad was named as a representative for Madison County from 1846 to 1858. Alexander knew and admired Mr. Forrest, as I do not think he was a relative. Young Matt Goad of Stringtown later named his son George Forrest Goad, 1876-1934. All the younger Goad children received some education. Here is what Goodspeed Publications said of early Madison County schools. Schools were supported entirely by voluntary subscription tuitions. Mr. Berry, a teacher in 1846, said, "I taught the 3-month term for $15 and board." No great amount of learning was required to be a teacher. And when 2 or more applicants appeared for the same school, the one who gave the best evidence of muscular development was in. How funny. So one taught and one would read the Bible. So the guy with the muscles would teach. How funny. My great-grandmother, Jane Henderson Goad, died sometime shortly after 1860. This occurred almost certainly in Bowen Township of Madison County. Alexander married the widow, Jane Womack, in 1863. This was the first time great conflict for Alexander Goad. His brother Matt Goad and his wife were killed by guerrillas just over in Crawford County. His adopted son, Eli Dotson Jr., was fighting with the South and the badly wounded. His son-in-law, Thomas F. Cantrell, Martha's husband, was fighting for the South and was killed in battle, leaving Martha with 4 little children. Alexander's 3 sons, Will, Charles, Pinky, and Matt, were first drafted by the Confederacy. They deserted and joined the Union Army. Alexander could not win, and much sorrow was bound to follow. He was over 50 years old and involved in war he did not want. About this time, he decided to move his family to Yellville, perhaps for the reasons of safety. Jane Womack might have lost their first husband to war, but who knows? Maybe. The dreadful war ends, and the year 1870 finds Alexander and his family living in Yellville. His 18-year-old son, Bob, is still in the household. He has a 6-year-old son, Eli, and the Jane Womack Goad and 3 Womack stepchildren. Charlie Pinky remarried and left the household while a soldier in 1863. Louisa and Mary both married just after the war. So all the older children had left and were on their own. Alexander still lives in Yellville in 1880. I have a picture of Alexander and Jane Womack Goad. Alexander was 70 years old in 1880, and his wife about 50 years old. A photo shows the Goad eyes and has a beard. Looked like he's holding a cane or crutch under his arm. Alexander lived to be nearly 80 years old and died near Yaleville in 1889. We will continue the next one next time. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.